and glad to have a couple great special presentations to start off our morning. So we're going to get started with our Interim Vice Provost for University Libraries and our University Librarian, Maria Estorino. Welcome, Maria. It's good to see you as always. And we look forward to hearing from you. Tell us all about the libraries.
Thank you so much, Katie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to share with you today about the university libraries. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to help me guide my presentation. I have to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to do the libraries justice in the short time that we have together, but my goals for today are to give you a very kind of brief introduction to the libraries on campus, as well as spend most of the time talking about how staff can make use of our resources. So my name is Maria Estorino. I am currently serving as the Interim Vice Provost for University Libraries and University Librarian since May. Prior to that, I served as the Associate University Librarian for Special Collections and Director of Wilson Library since 2017, which is when I joined the Carolina community. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. So I've been here for almost 6 years, very happily. And so let's see, let me try to advance the slides here. Okay, so let me give you a kind of really fast, high-level view of what the libraries on your campus are all about. This is the core of what we do. Very, very succinctly presented here. We preserve, we ensure student success, and we advance the research enterprise. I think you probably heard a lot about student success and the research enterprise. The libraries are also uniquely committed to preservation. And I want you to think about preservation not as a passive kind of storage thing that we do, but rather a very active way in which we ensure that the resources that we collect and provide are available for a very, very long time. It really goes hand in hand with access. We do our work across 10 locations, and you'll see them listed here. I want to make a few notes about our library locations. You may be familiar with some or maybe all of them. I want to point out that the anchor libraries are the first 5 that you see on this list. Davis, Undergraduate, and Wilson are all located very centrally on the North Campus. Wilson being across Polk Place from South Building, for example, and Undergraduate and Davis being surround Lenore. We also have the Health Sciences Library report up through us, and we also have a relationship with the Law Library. The staff there report to the dean of the law school, but we have a financial relationship with them. And then the numbers 6 through 10 are what we call branches. They're, as you can see, they're very subject specific, and they're associated with either specific departments or schools. But we are also always online. Sometimes you're using the library, you may not even know it. When you click on links on campus, especially, we give you direct access to the resources in our collections. And so I want to make sure that hopefully you received a PDF version of these slides, or they'll be made available to you, because there's a lot of links in here, and I really hope that you'll have a chance to come back to this and use those links as you need them. But this is the main one. If nothing else, this is our homepage. So we are home to a lot of stuff. Our collection is about 10 million books in both print and electronic versions, but we have more than that. We have journals, a lot of archival materials. I'd like to point out, especially since I was head of the special collections, that we have probably the biggest and most significant special collection at a public research institution in the Southeast, with a strong emphasis on the American South, but also the history of the book. We have a very strong collection of materials dating back to cuneiform tablets, for example. Maps, government documents, data sets, and more. Equipment, software, you name it. If you're ever in doubt, go to the library, because if you're not sure, and even if we don't have it, we'll be the ones to help you figure out where to get it. I want to just say something else, that we're also home to a lot of people. We're powered by people. We count on about 275 full-time employees. 108 are EHRA, 117 are SHRA, and we currently have somewhere around 50 vacancies. I share that because I know that everyone in this group is understanding the pain of the ups and downs of our staffing levels. We actually entered the pandemic with a large number of vacancies and have pretty much stayed there despite losing and hiring all throughout. We also are a significant employer of students. We currently have 160 student employees working at across the libraries at both undergraduate and graduate level. Okay, so now let's spend some time talking about how you can use the library. First and foremost, I want to make clear that these are your libraries, okay? Our libraries are open to the public, but for our campus community, your one card is your library card, and your onion is your key to all of our online resources. You don't need a special library card, nothing. You just use your onion and your one card, and those are the keys that unlock everything that we have. So I'm going to highlight some things that you may not know about, okay? One of the things that I'm a very active user of are our online media resources. Not a lot of people know that you can borrow ebooks and audiobooks from your library, whether it's our library or your public library. You can also stream movies, and so these are some ways in which you can enjoy the resources beyond the scholarly text that you might find in our stacks. You can research your family history. We have significant materials related to especially North Carolina history, and this guide here is related to how to conduct genealogical research, especially related to North Carolina and the American South. You get free access to news. We provide free subscriptions to the New York Times and the Washington Post. We also, if you're readers of the Chronicle of Higher Education, we also provide access to that. You can take in an exhibit. Wilson Library is home to 2 galleries. One of them is currently closed due to some damage to the facility, but we still have our North Carolina Collection Gallery active and open, and we also host a great number of digital exhibitions online. In fact, I want to make sure to make everyone aware of our current exhibition, which is on exhibit through December of this year, and it focuses on the 40th anniversary of what is considered to be the birth of the environmental justice movement right here in Warren County, North Carolina. There's a series of programs commemorating the anniversary, and we're going to be hosting one of them. This is our only in-person event. We have many events still at the libraries, but they're largely virtual still. This is the one in-person event that we're going to be hosting this fall. And we hope that if your schedule allows that you'll join us on September 15th from 1 to 2:30 for an event related to this exhibition and to this important anniversary. Our health sciences librarians curate this website where you can find reliable health information for your needs and for working with your healthcare providers. You can also learn new skills. These 2 links, I hope you'll get a chance to visit them because we provide a lot of workshops and training outside of the curriculum that are open to anyone related to technology skills ranging from podcasting to programming in R. And these are, again, are open to everyone on our campus community. You can also use our online resources to learn a new language. You can make history. Campus history is your history. You are a part of it, and we are committed to ensuring that all voices are remembered and heard as part of what we understand to be university history. We have ways in which we collect the official records of the university, but we're very committed to making sure that students and staff have a way to participate in this as well. So one of the things we can do is you can learn about university history at the libraries. We have really a lot of resources related to everything from building names to, firsts and student history and academic history and everything. Athletics history is a big one as well. But we also have a way for you to tell your story. We have a pretty new initiative called the Story Archive, which is a way to provide brief interviews about different topics related to your experience on campus. And while we are in early stages of this project, we'd love to find a way to partner with the Employee Forum and maybe do something specifically focused on the staff experience. I see that there's some chats. I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to, at the end, I'll stop and be happy to take any questions, whether they're in the chat or live in person. And you can do a lot more. I want to make sure that you know that the Information and Library Science library at Manning Hall is particularly strong in its children and young adult collections. And so you can borrow books, children and young adult, and graphic novels there. You can start a garden. We've launched a seed library at the Keenan Science Library. And it's a really great endeavor that was launched by one of our graduate students who is now permanently on our staff. And you can get creative. We have a makerspace at the Keenan Science Library that is open to everyone. And it includes not just 3D printers, but also a sewing machine, Cricut, Cricut, all sorts of equipment that is available to the campus community. And we've seen users from students to our theater department working on costumes and 3D printing masks for costumes and things like that. So that was a power speed through the different kinds of things that I hope you will find a way to engage with at our libraries. As I mentioned in the beginning, at the end of the day, when in doubt, please contact us. And there's several ways to do that. You can walk into any one of our libraries and you'll find staff ready to assist you. But you can also email, chat us, or call us on the phone, and this link will get you to us in all of those ways. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to try to see if I can take a look at the questions. Okay, so do you have to use a VPN to access the library sources you mentioned off campus? Ashley, no, you don't need a VPN, but you will need to log in with your Onion. So when you're on campus, you don't have to log in. Some resources you do, but those are just a handful that for licensing requirements, you have to log in every time that you use them. But if you're off campus and let's say you find something in the catalog or you want to, read the Chronicle, it'll take you to an Onion login page. And then once you log in, it'll redirect you then to where you're trying to go. Can retired faculty access the online resources? That's a good question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I believe so. As long as you have an Onion, you should be able to access the resources. So really the Onion is the key to that. Arlene endorses the Story Archive. I have done 2 interviews so far, one from my time as a student and one for some of my time as staff. Thank you, Arlene. I look forward to maybe exploring ways in which we can collaborate on that. Thank you also for the shout out to the Seed Library. Jesse, I'm right there with you. It's a game changer. My brother-in-law buys every Kindle book he ever wants to read, and I keep trying to tell him, like, you can do this at your library on your Kindle reader. You don't need a special app or anything like that. You can do it on your Kindle. This is great. Thank you, Annetta. Thank you. I love you too, Charlie. I'm happy to see you here. Miss you at the libraries. And thank you. Yeah. How do you take advantage of the newspaper subscriptions? Tiffany, I'm going to reshare the link to the newspaper information. It's going to give you all the instructions. Unfortunately, that one does require a few more setup steps. Like you have to create an account with the New York Times or with the Washington Post and then link it and all this stuff. But the library provides you with step-by-step way to do that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all so much. I appreciate the comments and the questions. As I mentioned, the slides are available to you with all of the links. But again, when in doubt, just reach out to us. So how did I do on time?
You did absolutely great. Is there any more questions for Maria about the libraries? And I, as a history major and undergrad here at Carolina, I highly endorse spending some time in Wilson Library in the archives. It's a great fun time. Well, maybe it is just for nerds like me, but I love our libraries. They're great. Any other questions, Katie, for Maria? No, well, excellent. Thank you so much for providing all of these great resources. We will be sure to share them widely. I know that all of the delegates already have your slides, but if we want to share them in our units, are we able to do that, Maria?
Yes, please do distribute. I will say one thing that is not in the slideshow is that our North Carolina Digital Heritage Center, which is a partnership with the State Library, has a website called digitalnc.org. And I just want to share that with you because if you're interested in newspapers, especially historic newspapers, we have the entire archive of the Daily Tar Heel, as well as thousands of titles from across the state that we are continually adding to. So that's another resource. It's not the day, the news of the day, but it's if you're from North Carolina, yearbooks, newspapers, you name it. That's a really great resource as well. But anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maria. We really appreciate it. And go to your local libraries, people. Love it. Awesome. All right. So let's see if we have our next guest joining us. I believe we do. I would like to welcome our new Chief of UNC Police, Brian James, who is joining us today. Thank you for being here, Chief James, and we look forward to hearing from you. Oh, hey. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing great. I appreciate the time. I don't necessarily have anything prepared, but I just wanted to jump on real quick. I've I'm kind of sandwiched in between meetings this morning, but I've met a lot of people on the call and some that I haven't. But what I want to say is that, first of all, I am glad to be here at UNC. Very thankful for the opportunity. I came from Greensboro. I retired from there at the end of May as a chief in Greensboro. Started here on July 1st. So I've been here just over 2 months, still trying to learn the campus. What I'll say is that campus safety is a partnership. It takes everyone on this call and beyond. And as the chief here, I certainly want us to have great relationships throughout the campus community, to include the students, faculty, and staff. And at any time we can be of assistance, please feel free to reach out. We're going to try to ramp up our community engagement, come up with some creative ideas. If you have any ideas from your respective areas of the campus, we certainly would like to hear those, because we certainly don't have all the answers to everything. But again, we just want to just have a safe campus community, and for everyone to have a great experience here, whether you're a student or an employee. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for being here, Chief James. And really, I would echo some of those comments of staff are really the boots on the ground folks. If you really need anything at all, please reach out to the staff. And I know all of your team, your force, your officers, they're all staff here at the university. So we're here to represent you and your team. So anything we can do to partner with UNC Police and make sure that y'all are taken care of, please reach out and let us know. We're here for you as a resource as well. Absolutely. Any questions for Chief James while we have him here?
I'll be glad to take a few questions if anyone has any.
May I recommend the Black and Blue tour on campus? Someone says in the chat. I don't know if you've had a chance to explore that tour on campus, Chief James.
I have not, but I'll certainly put it on my list, of Black and Blue tour.
Yes, I believe so. I think that's back since COVID, if I recall correctly. Oh, there's a virtual version. Okay. Thanks, Arlene.
Okay. Katie, I'm going to jump in to say that the libraries is currently updating it. And so I just, we hope to have students to be helping us lead the tours as well.
Oh, great. Excellent. Any other questions for Chief James? No, well, we're really glad to have you. We're glad we got to kind of steal you away from Greensboro. Love Greensboro, though, from there. Annetta, your hand's up.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, welcome, Chief James. I do have a question that's a little bit specific. I know that you've been here just a couple of months, but do you have, as part of your plans, to meet with the leaderships at the various units or professional schools? And the reason why I ask that is that there are some specific safety issues that School of Medicine and School of Dentistry have to deal with that maybe some of the other units don't, because we have a number of visitors, outside visitors who come into our buildings. Is it your plans, or have you met with unit leaderships yet to really talk about our unique circumstances?
So I have met with some, and what I'll say is this, is that one thing I've realized with the university, it is very decentralized. And so a lot of individual units in various schools have specific needs. And what I'll say is, if, as I'm trying to learn the campus, if there's something that you feel like we need to focus on, please feel free to reach out to us, because there are some units that have more specific needs than others. So it would help me actually to become aware of specifically what is needed. One thing I'll say is this, is that as I've looked at campus safety overall and specific needs, to try to get some consistency around campus, just for instance, how we access various buildings. Some of the infrastructure is older, some is newer, and there's certainly different ways that we access buildings. There are specific buildings that have things, I guess, inside the building that are of high risk concern. And so we certainly need that information from individual schools. But if you can reach out, to me, that would be great. And I'd be glad to schedule something so I can become aware of what's needed and we can start to work on those individual issues. But what I'll say is that one thing that did surprise me as I came on campus, I knew how many students we had. I didn't know how many employees we had. And then when you start to go around and count the buildings, there are a lot of buildings, well over 100. And so a lot of individual needs. So if you have something, please feel free to reach out to me and I'd be glad to schedule a meeting with you.
I will do that. It may be myself and our interim dean, but there are also some other stakeholders, specifically within the dental school. And we work to protect, obviously, our students and employees when our patients are not behaving at their best. But there are some unique circumstances. So I'd love to kind of be able to inform you about what our baseline is, and then look at some strategies and just make sure that we have the appropriate channels of communication.
And also our community outreach team, they can also do a security survey at individual buildings as well. So we can determine any opportunities to enhance security. So we'd be glad to do that as well. So please reach out and I'd be glad to schedule something with you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And I highly endorse that process. We had a UNC police officer come out just before COVID and do an evaluation of our space at the law clinic. And it was a great experience. They pointed out some great improvements we could make to the security of our space. So highly endorse that. Other questions for Chief James? Yes, we are over 9,000 staff strong here on campus. So there are lots of us. But yes, we are very glad to have you, Chief James. We are glad to have you back anytime you'd like. We're glad to have one of your officers serve on the forum if someone so chooses. We want to make sure we have representation from all across campus. But yeah, thank you for being here and thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
Yeah,
welcome again to Carolina.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, folks. All right, we're moving right along here. Next up, we have our traditional human resources update with our trusty HR team. We've got Becci Menghini, Vice Chancellor for Human Resources and Equal Opportunity and Compliance. Welcome, Becci.
Good morning, everyone. It's so good to see all of your faces and welcome to another school year. It's hard to believe summer has wrapped up. I am in a state of denial, as I imagine some of you are as well. But I gotta say, having a little bit more traffic on campus is certainly entertaining, if not creating a little bit more parking challenge, right? I want to start by joining you and welcoming Chief Jones and recognizing Maria and thanking them for joining us, or Chief James, I'm sorry, and Maria for joining us this morning. I might suggest, as we are anticipating an employee appreciation event on the 21st of October, there might be an opportunity for Chief James and his police staff to perhaps engage in some sort of competition with the staff out at the Employee Appreciation Day. And perhaps we can work together with the forum to set up such an event. I'm sure Shireen, who's not on the call, who's doing most of the arranging for employee appreciation, just loves that I come up with these ideas at the last minute. But nonetheless, I certainly invite, I like the idea for a pie eating contest. Yes, that sounds excellent. So welcome again, Chief James. We're thrilled to have you here and we look forward to engaging with you and the remainder of your department, either at employee or both at employee appreciation and across campus. I want to note just a couple of things. Those of you who, well, actually now everybody should have seen the 3.5% increase payment be made onto the state budget legislative increase allocation show up on your checks for the month of August. SHRA folks saw those a little bit earlier than the EHRA folks. This check was a little bit bigger because it was retroactive to July. So your upcoming check should be what your standard rate is. As many of you read in the state budget details, there was an additional allocation made statutorily called the Labor Market Adjustment Reserve. That is a 1% of the payroll which 1% we're trying to figure out, whether it's total payroll or a portion. That detail has not yet been clarified. That is to be directed at labor market challenges that we're facing as an institution. We're still waiting on guidance for that. There are a number of rules around the labor market adjustment reserve. They are limited. It is limited to be spent on just 25% of our population. We do see this as a staff tool. There may be very minor use on the faculty side, but that's what we know from the system guidance or the OSHR guidance is that this is a staff tool. So we do intend to put it in place accordingly. That will be managed from the center because it's really a data question. So it's where are we in terms of rates and where are we low, where are we high? The challenge, quite frankly, that comes with it is that it doesn't appear that the market rates are changing at all with this. So we're really stuck with the existing rates and then the labor market numbers. And so where do we see the biggest efficiencies? We're going to try to do that in the most efficient and equitable way. We'll give you more of an update once we have guidance. At this point in time, we're just hearing little bits and pieces, and there's some more clarity coming out of OSHR here shortly. We expect that will be allocated by December, but again, we're still waiting on some details. One thing I will note, I mentioned employee appreciation, October 21st, mark your calendars. That is a Friday. We did a survey, several of you participated in it, and we heard back that y'all wanted to have lunch again, but you wanted the straight up barbecue, not the taco bowls, not the other stuff, but you want burgers and hot dogs, or no, straight barbecue, not burgers and hot dogs. So it's my understanding that's what we're going back to. They're working through the details on that. There is also going to be another opportunity for employee performances. We've had some really amazing performances in the past on the big stage. There's an opportunity to sign up for those. So hopefully you will have the opportunity, or you will want to do so. I highly recommend a employee forum, whether quartet, quintet, I don't know, how big can you get? I want to see some performance out of the forum. You got to blow the rest of the competition out of the water, right? I'll just point out, under no circumstances am I singing. There is no way. So
I'm escaping on the Tar Heel bus tour, so I will be also out of here.
Same. But nonetheless, I fully expect to see video of the live performances. Just a couple other updates, and then I'm going to hand it over to Joe Williams, who is our benefits guru, who's going to talk a little bit about open enrollment as that time is rapidly approaching. But just a couple of quick things. We welcomed both Maria and Chief James today. We have a lot of new deans on campus. Some of you have already talked a little bit about some of those folks. We've got a few more arriving in the coming weeks. And then on September 26th, the new Vice Chancellor for Communications, Cameron Farwell, is also joining the university. And I have on my list to talk to Katie about perhaps having Cameron join the forum for one of these meetings at some point moving forward as well. We want to give a big thanks to Beth Keith and Tanya Moore for sort of heading the communication shop over the course of the last year, but we're really thrilled to have Cameron join the campus. She comes to us from the University of Missouri, where she has previously served as Vice Chancellor for Communications, and I think she'll be a real asset to the community. Actually, I've managed to cover most everything. I will take some questions if anybody's got them, and then I'll toss it right over to Joe, because he's got actually the most interesting and time-sensitive information for you. And then I think Jessica's on the call to give a wellness update as well.
So we did have a few questions come in the chat.
Yep.
One come in. Why is the gift portion of the State Service Award still on hold until further notice? We are losing a lot of employees, and this is one way to show appreciation. I will also extend that to say, I think bringing back the kind of banquet and state service kind of awards ceremonies would be a much needed kind of return to pre-COVID experiences and showing some support and appreciation for our employees who have stayed. for a long time. So
yeah,
I
we
would
did some
echo that.
surveying previously and there was not a lot of interest in getting together in a large scale dinner. I think now we're moving into a point where people may be willing to, but up until now, there has not been a willingness to get together. And as you might expect, we're managing our budgets as best as we can. And when people said they didn't want to come, we opted up for without that. So the large scale dinners, I think, will come back. But we also have to sort of navigate that within the realities of our budget. And quite frankly, I have made some decisions entirely in consultation with our team, but we've said it's probably, there's some, if I'm having to balance budgets, I'm choosing to put a little bit more money in all staff events as opposed to just the recognition one, just because I don't have the dollars and cents to go all the way around. I can't do both. So that's sort of where that is. On the gift piece, part of that's also a budget piece, and we're trying to navigate how we do it. We had a previous arrangement that would allow for a little bit more of a partnership that helped underwrite that. We don't have that anymore. So now it's a question of how do we fund that? We're working through several avenues to see if we can come up with a gift option moving forward. We have, however, just for those of you who are nearing the 20-year mark or who have just hit it, we have not gotten, there was some chatter at one point in time, like, do people really want that plaque? And the answer was a resounding yes, they want the plaque. So we have not gotten rid of the plaques. The 20-year plaques are still a thing. The certificates for other years of service are still a thing. And if you didn't get to see this year, we put together a website recognizing everybody that was broadly distributed. And hopefully, for now, it's not just the people who are celebrating milestone years who get to know it, but actually you can see it more publicly and see the list of everybody. And that was, it's not an alternative. It's intended to be an additional recognition of those folks who have celebrated service. Your point, however, is well taken. We certainly know that the more employee recognition we can do, the better. We're just trying to figure out how to balance our budget and make sure that we can do a little bit of everything. So more to come on that front, especially now that we're all moving toward, I am reluctant to say it out loud, but moving toward a little bit more normalcy where people are willing to be out and about a bit more. So.
Another question that came in was around the new approval of the new COVID booster shots that are supposed to become widely available. Do we anticipate having those available, and along with flu shots, to be honest, because we're approaching that season, at Student Stores Pharmacy for staff?
I fully expect we will. And I was on a call yesterday and they're working through the details of messaging on that. And so I expect we'll have the boosters available. If you have not already begun your regular shot series, you will not be eligible for a booster. You have to have done your regular shot series. And my understanding is it's unlikely that the regular shot series will continue at student stores. Please don't quote me on that, though. They're working through the details of what their allotment is and then what the staffing is to manage the setup. And there is some messaging being worked on, but Amir Barzin is leading that together with our comms team. So I'm just the messenger at this point in time with mediocre data. Wait for the final messaging for confirmation, but I expect that out within the week.
Great, thanks, Becky.
Yep.
And then another final question I see in the chat, big picture question. How is UNC thinking about employee burnout? It comes up at every employee forum meeting.
Yeah, we have had lots and lots of conversations about this. The good news is we're seeing hiring pick up, and hopefully that means that people are seeing some help in their units. We hope that seeing a few more pennies in your paycheck feels a little better than it has over the course of the last several years without as many pennies in the paycheck. I realize it's not enough. We continue to advocate for more. We're also talking with deans and vice chancellors about how we continue to support and uphold the staff who are here while we're working to fill out our ranks. And some of that means thinking about schedules. Some of that's conversations about what we don't do, at least for a while. Some of that's conversations about how we roll things out in my own division. I will say I have heard many of you loud and clear. You're tired of us rolling out new systems, new products, new structures. And Joe can attest, we had our divisional meeting last week, as well as a divisional kickball competition. And we had a really frank discussion that our priorities are really to to work on the unsexy stuff of our infrastructure this next year. We're going to spend some time making the systems that we have work better. We're going to spend some time updating many of the forms. You all know about rainbow forms and EPARs and all that other stuff. We're doing some more automation to those forms, which is intended to make your lives easier, but we're not planning to roll out a new system. Somebody's asking about Concur. I will point out that that was rolled out by Finance and Operations. There has been a lot of conversation about Concur as of late. I know everybody dislikes it. There's a lot of reasons why we use it. And it's not just because everybody says, oh, it's about saving money. It's not. There's some compliance requirements. We were dinged by not ensuring that we've got compliance in the way people travel. The deans have expressed on your behalf, and many of you have expressed directly your distaste for Concur. What I think is going to happen, candidly, and again, this is not my space, it's just I'm picking things up in meetings. I think we will likely continue to use Concur, but we will eliminate some of the, actually, I can't say I think this is what's going to happen. What I have heard as suggestions is that they will eliminate some of the push messaging so that when you do travel, you don't get 87,000 messages announcing that you need to put in your receipts before you've even traveled, because that's not particularly useful. And there will be some ways to seek approvals outside of the system, but then be able to document them in the system. That's where they're leaning right now, because we have to honor the compliance piece. The alternative is that we let it up to the units, but then they have to come up with structures to manage compliance. And I will tell you, most of your finance leads have said they don't want to be responsible to manage the compliance. They need a system for that. So this is a battle of how do we meet the expectations of what we need to do from a compliance perspective, and how do we make it not so user unfriendly that people can't stand to use it and spend, 3/4 of their day trying to book a flight. We've got to figure out a middle ground. I think people are keenly aware of that. I'm way outside of my lane now, but I'm just communicating to you all. I hope your takeaway is that the voices of distaste for Concur have been heard loudly and clearly, and there are several teams looking at how to address that. And I wish them luck. Any other questions for me? So employee burnout. I don't have a really quick answer. We do know, I've been on several calls with my peers, both within the system and across the country. We do know that we're struggling to attract candidates in some of these pools. We're doing everything we can. We are looking at, we have gotten some approvals, and we're trying to figure out how to roll out the retention and recruitment bonus provisions that have been provided that might help us in certain areas. We're having conversations about how to address some limitations in the requirements for certain positions that really make it difficult to hire people because of a rule that doesn't apply to the actual job. They have to have this certification or this degree, and it doesn't really inform whether or not they could do the job well. We're listening to the feedback you all are bringing, either directly through your HR folks or others, about the hiring process, and that's just one piece of the burnout. Then we're having conversations with deans and others about what can you drop, how do you ensure the flexibility that's being granted is equally distributed, or distributed in a way that ensures that people are getting the support they need in their individual areas. And then if you have other ideas, we'll welcome them. I think I mentioned previously, one of the things we're looking at in the build career development space is trying to do some more staff mentoring. And many of you will be receiving a survey soon if you haven't already. And some of that is asking, would you be interested in mentoring that really is just looking at career development at the university broadly, and or something specific to your unit or field? So if you're an accounting tech, are you looking to link with business officers? Are you looking to stay in that vein? Or are you just looking at the university more broadly? Are you interested in mentoring that's sort of around an affiliation? So childcare, elder care, race, ethnicity, something like that. We're going to look and see what options, or what people say they want, and then see what options we can build out. And we'll certainly work with all of you at the forum as we do so.
Great. And I had a final question come in the chat, which will be a nice kind of punt over to Joe on the benefit side because it's benefits related. And it says, has there been any consideration to bring back the retirement benefits that were moved in 2021, I think, i.e. the no health insurance after retirement?
I'm going to kick it to Joe, but I don't think the answer is going to be what anybody likes.
I don't think
Unfortunately. Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Williams, Senior Director of Benefits, Leave Administration, and Total Wellbeing. And it's a pleasure to be with you here today. So in regards to the retiree health questions, so our legislators, state legislators, of course, administer sort of the budget behind, of course, our health plan and retiree health insurance. And one of the big things that has come up is that there's an $11 billion with a B, $11 billion kind of retiree health liability. And so one of the things that the kind of the legislators did back in kind of 2019 actually was to kind of begin to sort of phase out that retiree health insurance. You'll know, of course, it used to be if you had 5 years of retirement participation in teasers or the ORP, you could get the free retiree health benefit. And then that changed after October 2006. And then now it's there's a 5-year, a 10-year, and now if you have 20 years or more, you can get the free retiree health. And then, of course, January 1, 2021, they just eliminated for any new hires coming into the university system or the state of North Carolina agency employment. Now, some of the things that we kind of look at and deal with are that we have employees that maybe worked for the state years ago or worked for a UNC system years ago, and they're hired after this January 1, 2021. As long as they've had or kept their teasers monies or their ORP funds intact in those accounts, they can actually kind of get grandfathered in with that. So through our new employee orientation process, as we have people coming in either as transfer employees or folks that have had previous state service, we work with them as well. But unfortunately, we're not hearing anything that retiree health benefit will come back. And sadly, that's a tough thing because, again, that was a nice perk for a lot of folks. Now, one other piece to kind of say about that is that the retiree health insurance for those over age 65 when they're retiring, the competition kind of in that space for Medicare and Medicare plans, Medicare Advantage plans. Again, you can actually get quite a few free Medicare Advantage plans. Duke for instance, has a free Medicare Advantage plan. Many plans are $10, $20 a month. Our state retirement system, for those who are kind of fully eligible for that free plan, they get a free Medicare Advantage plan. What a lot of people don't realize, and sometimes it's a little bit of a sticker shock, is that everyone pays a Medicare Part B, as in boy, a Medicare Part B premium. Most Americans pay about $177 a month for this year for that Medicare Part B premium. Every person that retires from the state, from the UNC system, they're over age 65, they must be enrolled in Medicare Part A and B. And again, they have to pay that Medicare Part B premium. The state retirement system through the state health plan offers, again, that Medicare Advantage plan. So it's a great plan. It's kind of a whole wraparound type plan. Everything's done by a copay. Your prescription drug coverages are all covered in that Medicare Advantage plan. But again, the value of that, because again, there's so much competition in the Medicare Advantage space now. Again, I don't know for those over age 65 if that piece is quite as important as it used to be. But certainly those under age 65, if you're taking an early type retirement, certainly that's where that retiree health benefit is much more competitive. Any questions around that piece? Okay, all right. So I'm here today to kind of just chat with you about open enrollment. And let me share my screen. I've just got one single slide to share with you today. Are you able to see my slide? Okay, great. So on this slide, of course, you'll see that our open enrollment, just like it is most every year in October of each year, we have open enrollment. And that open enrollment is designed for you to make changes to your benefits if you like for the next year, but it's also designed to sort of take some action and take some steps. Some of the things that each of us have to do, if you're part of the state health plan, you have to go in every year and you have to give a tobacco attestation. Also, if you like the 80-20 health plan, everyone's defaulted to the 70-30 plan. So you have to go in and proactively elect the 80-20 health plan if you want that for 2023. Now, some things that are different this year is that the UNC system is taking on some of the plans that have currently been held at the state level. And so many of you are familiar with the term NC Flex. So NC Flex has things like our dental or vision, flexible spending accounts, life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment. And you'll see on this slide that those things under the UNC enrollment portal, those are things that are moving under the UNC system umbrella. So again, coming off of the state's enrollment platform and moving into a UNC system platform. So we're going to have essentially 2 enrollment platforms to go into this year. We realize, of course, that's not as sweet, simple, user-friendly as we would like it to be. It is a little bit more work. It's a little bit more challenge. We are working with our communications team on how we inform staff and faculty about this kind of change for open enrollment. And again, a lot of things are happening. A lot of things will be coming out over the next few weeks to make sure folks know about this. When you go into Connect Carolina, if you recall, you go into your self-service portal, there's a My Benefits tile. And then if you look on the left of the screen, there's a benefit enrollment little drop-down menu. And at the very top of that menu, you will see State Enrollment Portal and UNC System Enrollment Portal. And those are those 2 portal links that you're going to be going into. So if you go into the state enrollment portal, that's where you'll do your state health plan, your tobacco attestation. You can change over to the 80-20 plan. You'll have your dental, your vision, the accident plan, the flexible spending accounts. If you're in the TRICARE supplement plan, again, you'll still do all of that in that state enrollment portal. Once you complete those actions, those things, you have a little save button at the bottom. We always try to encourage people to remember to hit that save button because, again, it's all just sort of held until you hit the save button. Once you do that, you can print out a confirmation. You can get a confirmation screen, take a picture of it with your cell phone just to document that you've done it, just in case something happens. You've got kind of some proof that you went through open enrollment and did what you needed to do. Then the second step will be if you need to make any changes to life insurance or accidental death and dismemberment, the cancer plan or critical illness plan, that's where you'll go into that UNC system enrollment portal. Some of you, of course, are aware that our life insurance plan for the UNC system kind of changed this past year. It moved from MetLife, and the new vendor is Securian. Securian is actually the 5th largest life insurer in America, so it's a huge company, and the UNC system has partnered with Securian on the life insurance and accidental death benefits. But again, in that Securian Empyrean portal, which we're calling just a UNC system enrollment portal, that's where you'll again be able to see these benefits for the life insurance. Now, some of the changes that are kind of occurring under this, things moving into the UNC system umbrella, is like the life insurance. Some of you know, of course, we have 2 life insurance options currently. You have one through NC Flex through the state, again, all state employees. And then you have this UNC system life insurance that is through the UNC system, and only UNC system employees can enroll in that plan. So what is happening essentially is the NC Flex life insurance are being kind of grabbed as they are, and they'll be moved into the UNC system life insurance. So if you, for instance, have a $100,000 employee-only life insurance coverage under NC Flex, that will migrate automatically under the UNC system life insurance plan, and that will occur January 1, 2023. If you by chance have NC Flex life insurance and UNC system life insurance, those will combine over into that UNC system life insurance plan. So let's say you've got $100,000 in NC Flex, you've got maybe 2 times salary under the UNC system, and let's say you make $50,000, so you've got that 100,000, this 100,000 and this 100,000 will join together. You'll have a $200,000 policy. And again, you don't need to do anything. That's going to automatically occur. That migration will take place, through a system move. So again, no action on that. However, you can update beneficiaries, and that's one of the pieces that we're going to be really pushing, is that as folks are moving these NC Flex life insurance, as these benefits move to the UNC system life insurance portal, beneficiaries will need to be updated. The vendor that currently houses the NC Flex life insurance, they were not able systematically to get those beneficiaries moved over as well. So again, we will be pushing and reminding people to go into that system and again, update beneficiaries under the UNC system enrollment portal. Now, I know I talked a lot, said a lot of things, gave you a lot of information, but let me kind of just pause here and see maybe what questions there may be.
Questions for Joe? One question is was it shared whether or not premiums are going to increase this year? Or do we know that information yet, Joe?
Yeah, good news. The health insurance premiums are staying as is. The only increase that we're aware of is the dental plan through the state, of the NC Flex dental plan. That is going up just a small percentage. But other than that, our health insurance premiums are staying as is.
Great. Arlene, your hand's up.
What is the benefits to the employee to this change in life insurance vendor?
Sure. One really nice thing about this life insurance change, especially moving under the UNC system umbrella, is that one, premiums will be lower. So the UNC system life insurance, when you sort of look at age to age comparisons on cost of life insurance, the UNC system life insurance plans cost less. So that's a good thing. The second thing is, if you have, say, employee coverage under the UNC system life insurance, and again, let's just say you have 2 times salary, you make, we'll say $55,000 a year, so you have $110,000 in life insurance. As a free sort of benefit under the UNC system life insurance, if you were to die, and let's say due to an accident, like a car accident, for instance, so your death is due to an accident, the life insurance will pay the $110,000 to your beneficiaries, but there's also a free built-in accidental benefit, accidental death benefit. So the plan will pay an additional $110,000 to your beneficiary. So at that point, you would have $220,000 being paid to your beneficiaries. The NC Flex state plan does not have that rider built into it. So that's a great thing. The other piece about the UNC life insurance is that there are some additional services by being a part of this plan, such as a will preparation. There are some legal type advisory benefits that are tied with this. There's some travel benefits that are also tied to this plan. So again, those are some wonderful things about the UNC system life plan that I encourage people to get, kind of familiar with and learn more about that. So our open enrollment is October 10th through the 28th. So it's 18 days of fun. My benefits team, we're excited about it. This is like our Super Bowl. So we're like, practicing, we're prepping, we are like ready for this thing and can't wait to get it over the finish line. So it should be a really good open enrollment. Other questions?
Look at your definition of fun, Joe.
When you're a benefits nerd like I am, this is great stuff.
Jacob, your hand's up.
Yeah, just because more because as the employee forum, I try to be a little bit helpful to my peers, and my concern with the dual portal is that someone's going to miss it. They're just going to, especially people who've been doing this for years, they're going to be like, oh, I did it, and I hit save, done. Right. And then they're going to walk off and they're going to be half enrolled. Are there plans for recourse in that situation? What should I advise my housekeeper, who's definitely going to come to me like, wait a second, what's going on? Right. Sure. Other folks in that situation, especially folks who don't have access to like computers at work as part of their. Sure. Understand.
So one of the great things about this UNC system enrollment portal is that those things in there, like the life insurance, the accidental death, the cancer plan, the critical illness plan, if people have those already, they're just going to be in there. So they're not going to have to go back in and re-enroll in those things. As most of you know, all of our benefits migrate from year to year. The exception, of course, are the flexible spending accounts, which are under that state enrollment portal. You must re-enroll in the flexible spending accounts each year if you want them. The only other thing is the health insurance, because you have to do the tobacco attestation if you want to save $60 a month. And then you have to, of course, select the 80-20 since the default is 70-30 for everyone. So even if someone has life insurance or has, say, the critical illness plan and they don't know or forget or don't go into that UNC system enrollment portal, it will not affect their benefits. The other piece is certainly those people that do not update their beneficiaries under the life insurance. The UNC system will be working on some communication plans for identifying whether there's an empty beneficiary row over the next few months. And again, we can kind of begin just communicating out to staff and faculty to go into that system at any time to update beneficiaries. So we'll be working for that.
Great. Any other questions for Joe on open enrollment or benefits overall?
Hey, I
Well,
have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
Joe, will your team still be offering to come out and meet with departments individually as needed, what have you?
We are open to that. So every kind of division, school across campus has an assigned benefits consultant. And certainly, we can set up is, being a part of, a meeting, a team meeting. One of the things, just because, again, it's such a busy time for us, one of the things that we ask is if you have sort of larger scale meetings, those certainly can work best, whether it's, a big meeting or a large Zoom meeting or something that we can be a part of. If we come to your department and there's you and 2 other people in that meeting, certainly it's not a super use of our time, not that you 3 aren't important, but again, we want to be mindful that it is a very busy season as we move into open enrollment. So we're happy to help with those, whether it's an in-person or a Zoom session.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And another final question in the chat, where do you find a copy of the life insurance policy once enrolled?
Sure. So because this is a group life insurance plan, there is a group policy. And so on our website, we're actually updating our web pages for the open enrollment. And the link to that policy will actually be there if you look at the UNC system, or I'm sorry, UNC benefits web pages under the life insurance. That's where you will see the life insurance policy that will have linked there.
Great. Excellent. Well, thanks as always, Joe. We're eagerly anticipating open enrollment starting up in October, and we'll always reach out to you if we have any questions.
That would be great. Thank you so much. I'm going to toss it over to my colleague, Jessica, and she's here to give you some
welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Always great to see you. I want to start off on just a somber note in bringing to everyone's attention that September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So death by suicide certainly affects everyone and has unfortunately touched us close at the Carolina community. So too many of us know someone who has either attempted suicide or died by suicide. And over the past 2 decades, suicide rates have been increasing with the United States. It's currently ranked the 10th cause of death among all ages. So I am going to direct you to guidance resources, which has specific information on how to understand the warning signs, how to help someone.
Hey, Jessica, you're breaking up a little bit, and folks are having a hard time hearing.
And Jessica, you may need to change your mic setting. I'm not sure which mic, maybe.
How about this?
There you go. That's it.
Perfect.
So if you did not hear me before, September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and I do want to direct you to all the great resources that are available through guidance resources. They have information to help you understand the warning signs to recognize for suicide and how to help someone who's contemplating suicide. So the website for that is simple. It's www.guidanceresources.com. And I do hope that you have visited that website before, but if you have not, and you created an account, which is free and anonymous, we don't know who's going on the site, but the web ID to log on for the first time is Tar Heels, all caps in one word, Tar Heels. The overall message for suicide prevention is to get involved, to be prepared, and to know about the professional support resources that are available for you and for others to turn to. And also, if you know someone who may be contemplating suicide, make sure that you do get immediate help from the National Suicide Lifeline, Prevention Lifeline, and that's 800-273-8255. And as usual, I'll send all these notes to Katie so you don't have to be writing these all down. Piggybacking off of that, mental health first aid trainings are back. There are a lot of offerings this fall. If you have never taken this training, it's a great training to get you trained on how to help someone who is developing a mental health condition or experiencing a crisis. Also addresses suicide prevention and awareness. It's meant to train faculty, staff, students to respond to signs of anxiety, depression, trauma, substance abuse, and psychosis. Trainings are offered in a variety of settings this fall. They're both virtual and in person, either a one-day training or split up into two shorter two-day trainings. Space is always limited for all of those. And if you'd like to have a training for your own employees, all you need is 15 people committed to take the training, either 1 or 2 days, and you can get all that information. I'll drop this one in the chat right now. So this is the link to get more information about mental health first aid offerings. And all these classes, if you're familiar with going to the HR calendar, all of these have been added to our calendar, so you can check them out there as well. With our Wellness Wednesdays, last month we reached 52 people, with our strongest session being the new one. It was titled Relaxation Micro Moments and Winding Down Techniques. So that got a lot of attention. Happy to see that. And this month we have a session, a Wellness Wednesday every week, starting today with emotional intelligence. Next week, preventing employee burnout. The 21st, emotional eating and the connection between mood and food. And the 28th, mindfulness, being present in work and life. Keep in mind, these registrations are through Carolina Talents, and they're open until every Tuesday at noon. The sessions start Wednesday at noon every week. In addition to that, our partnership with UNC Wellness Centers, they also have a wide variety of topics, starting today with exploring optimism and how to build it, and ending the month on the 29th with nutrition, hydration, and marathon training. So those are all in the HR calendar as well. So I encourage you to check those out. And just to remind you that if any of you, or if you know any caregivers, they do offer a free monthly support group for caregivers, and that's the third Wednesday of every month starting at noon. Excited to let you know that Miles for Wellness is starting up on the 26th. And they are changing the course of things. We have, I think, toured all the capitals throughout the country over the past couple of challenges. And we will be touring the 20 NFL stadiums across the US. So if you're a football fan, that's exciting. We're going to be starting off right here virtually in Charlotte. And for those who can visit all the stadiums, that's a total of 9,000 miles for each team. So those team registrations are currently open, and they do stay open till the first day of the challenge, which is Monday the 26th. So get ready and recruit your teams. With our Wellness Champions program, we welcome 8 new champions this fall. We have 5 people joining us from the School of Medicine. So those are Olga Otter from Emergency Medicine, Heather Wells from the Center of Environmental Medicine, Asthma and Biology, Amanda Gillespie from General Pediatrics and Adolescent Medicine, Elaine McMantis from the Institute for Global Health and Infectious Disease, Morgan Church from the Office of Graduate Education. We also have a new co-champion from Keenan Flagler. That's Courtney Trevino. We have Bob Poliachik from ITS Dream Team. And we have a new champion in campus health, and that is Dr. Naima Steenet. So all that information is on they've been added to our Wellness Champions website. We've already had a successful first meeting, and we look forward to a successful year ahead. With that, one of the first things we do in the Champions program, and also we started moving this to September last year, but you'll have the opportunity to give us your feedback on what your top areas of interest are when it comes to health, whether it be mental health, physical health, financial health. So we have a total well-being interest survey that opens up on Friday, this Friday the 9th, and that's where you're invited to share your wellness interest. That information, that survey link will be open to you till the end of the month, Friday the 30th. It takes no more than 10 minutes, and it is really helpful. And that information is shared with our wellness champions once we close it. Our fall Helping Heels list has also closed. So we're working to get that up on our website by the end of the week. So stay tuned on that. Lots and lots of discounts came in this month. So to let you know, you have 30% off regular ticket prices to the NC Symphony in Chapel Hill and in Raleigh. The produce box is offering a raffle, so you don't have to sign up for the discounted program, but if you want a shot for a free 1-year membership and a $50 gift certificate, I will give that link to Katie and drop it in the chat box. If you're visiting Asheville anytime before the end of the year, the 4 Points by Sheraton Asheville Downtown offers our employees a discounted rate. So starting October 1st to November 14th, Sunday through Thursday, there's a discounted rate of $119. And then starting November 15th through December 31st, there's a discount every single day of the week. And those nightly rates are between $99 and $114 plus tax. So that's all on our website under discounts and travel. And then the Kerr Lake season is closing the end of this month. Their season runs from May 1st to September 30th. If you are not an annual member, you do receive 50% off of recreational area for camping, water sports, and outdoor relaxation. So be sure to check out that information also on our discount page under leisure and recreation. Questions for me?
Questions for Jessica? As always, I will be glad to share all of these resources you provided, and thank you for these updates. Arlene's question, how do you find the time for all of this? Great question. You're a one-woman show, Jessica.
Thanks for keeping me busy. I do have support, especially on those huge projects.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, thank you for those updates, Jessica. Any final questions, thoughts for our HR team before we move on to the next portion of our agenda? Thanks as always, Becky, Joe, and Jessica for joining us today. We are moving right along into our consent agenda. I myself would like to pull out STAC, the Staff Advisory Committee to the Chancellor, and the Chancellor's Cup Golf Tournament. Is there anyone else who wants to pull anything from the consent agenda before we consider the consent agenda? Laura?
2 things. One, are minutes separate? Is that something separate?
That's a part of the consent agenda, but if you have amendments, you can offer them.
Okay, want to make edits to the minutes, and 2, would like to pull out education and career development.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to pull from the consent agenda? Okay. Other than the minutes, education, career development, STAC, and the golf tournament.
Katie, sorry, and the 30th anniversary.
We're talking about that later in the thing. So, and do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
This is Arlene. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Any seconds?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, so I guess we'll start with the minutes. Laura, you had a suggested revision before we consider those?
Yes, sent them to Matt so he has the language, but 2 edits. One is the name of the School of Data Science and Society needs to be corrected to School of Data Science and Society. And 2, it's listed in there as Jay Icott being the leader of that team, but that's not correct. Stan Ahalt is the dean of that school. So just those 2 updates for me.
Great. I think Jay was like behind, like getting us to the point where we named a dean. So maybe like we reflect Jay's leadership and Stan's new appointment as the future permanent leader.
Sounds good to me.
Any other amendments before we consider the August minutes? Okay, with those amendments in mind, do I hear a motion to approve the August minutes?
I make a motion to approve the August minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? All right, August minutes are approved. Education and career development, Laura.
Friends. So just wanted to let everyone know that we are looking to schedule our first education and career development committee meeting for the new academic year for later this month. So if you did not already receive an email from me asking for your availability and you want to be part of this committee, please send me an email. Don't put it in chat, it will get lost. Just send me an email. I will put my email in the chat so you can send it to me there. Thanks, that's all.
Great. Chancellor's Cup Golf Tournament, Shayna, I'm going to lean on you to provide an update there because literally we are in the month of the golf tournament already, which is bonkers. It's crazy.
It is bonkers. Thanks, everybody. It is September 27th. I have a bevy of people that wanted to volunteer. So if you did, hang tight. We're figuring out how we can best utilize you. We're excited about the event. It's slam packed. The Chancellor is, from what I gather, the Chancellor and our athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, are on our team. It's here at Findlay for the first time in over 5 years. So that's all the news that's fit to print. I will send you an update once we get all of the donations in and let you know how successful it was. So thank you, everyone, for those of you who volunteered.
And thank you, Shayna, for helping lead that effort for our campus with the staff assembly. We so appreciate your continued leadership. Thank you. The next update I had was for the staff advisory committee to the Chancellor. I had a conversation with Chancellor Guskowitz yesterday, kind of touching base on, and I think I mentioned this a couple months back, some proposed revisions to the staff advisory committee to the Chancellor. That committee kind of, since its formation, has kind of had uncertain membership rules and kind of, it was housed in the Chancellor's office, and it was just a little haphazard in the sense of its structure. So the Chancellor and I kind of discussed some potential changes of putting it under the umbrella of the employee forum so that it provides some much needed kind of membership structure and longevity. So we're deciding to move forward with that. And with that said, one of the biggest kind of membership pieces of the puzzle for STAC will be our nine division representatives that we name at our retreat every year will serve as 9 of the folks on STAC. 9 other folks will be appointed by the Chancellor from across the university, don't have to necessarily be a part of the employee forum. And Keith and myself, or in other words, the vice chair and the chair of the employee forum, will serve as the co-chairs of STAC. So that's kind of the new structure of it. It'll meet kind of every other month in the off months that the Chancellor isn't providing an update to the employee forum, so that we have a consistent opportunity to kind of have the ear of the Chancellor, and that he has the opportunity to speak with us and to speak with a wider constituency of staff. So that's the tentative plan. For those of you all who are named as division representatives at the retreat, I'll be reaching out soon to schedule the STAC meetings that have already been calendared with the Chancellor's office for the year. So be on the lookout to be added to our team site and to be receiving those Outlook invites for STAC meetings moving forward. Any questions about that? We're going to have to at some point do a bylaws revision to add STAC and like this new structure to our bylaws, which we will get going on that. And I'm sure that Jacob is looking at me with a nasty look because I probably created work for us. But I think it's a great idea that will ensure STAC kind of remains a valuable tool for the Chancellor and for staff. So I like it. I think it's going to work well. It's always a work in progress. And if we need to reevaluate, we obviously can. And I got the blessing and approval of Shayna, who is the only other chair of STAC in the history of STAC. So any questions or thoughts from the group on that prospect?
I just wanted to add, Katie, that it mirrors the faculty body. So, I think that was really important. And it also, it ensures that this is a committee that continues. I think that was a concern. And so bringing it under the umbrella of the employee forum was a way to just ensure that year after year, it was given the importance and the attention and the energy that it was due. So I thank you for your work, Katie. It was a developing group as it started, and it did need some structure.
Yeah. And I think it also will provide some kind of much needed home to resources. So like having an opportunity to post kind of minutes and things that are developed out of STAC on our website. Just like our other committees, it's not limited to just employee forum folks who can serve on STAC, which I think is an important way to highlight the fact that we're an open body that folks can participate in, even if you're not a delegate. So I like that piece of the puzzle. But yeah, like I said, there's kind of multi-faceted reasons why we kind of looked at STAC and wanted to make sure that we are a little bit more intentional about it moving forward. So Jacob, your hand's up.
Yeah, I was just I was just wondering and hoping that everybody who was elected to those positions was prepared for suddenly having more responsibility and FaceTime with the chancellor.
We mentioned it at the retreat. I don't know if folks paid attention to that. We did mention it.
Not my problem. I'm not one of them. But and the other thought was, could someone just kind of clarify? Because I think the other issue with STAC for me was that it was an additional advisory body. So however, I felt like it got a whole lot more traction during the pandemic than the employee forum ever got. My question is just, and this is more of a concern, and I'd like your feedback on it. I don't have an angle. Is do we think that this will bolster our reputation, or are we more worried about this diluting STAC?
I would say more the previous, because I feel like he recognizes that how useful STAC has been and wants it to continue. So I feel like because he brought this as a prospect to me, and we kind of worked through some of the details. So I feel like his trusting of putting it under the umbrella of the employee forum bodes only good things about the continued relationship of both STAC and the employee forum. That's the vibes in the sense I get from.
No, I think there's lots of good things that can come of it. I just wanted to get someone who's been in more of the meetings and has a better understanding of university-wide politics than I do. I appreciate your opinion. I do think something on a positive side that immediately leapt out to me is I think this is going to increase opportunities for recruitment, because people are going to think that they're, again, just because there are folks that we're going to interact with that aren't part of the forum. I think that might slowly help the forum just with its PR.
And I also selfishly like the idea of utilizing our division reps, because we only really visit them once a year at the retreat, and they serve on our executive committee, but it is a kind of tool to kind of get the voices of those different divisions and utilize those voices in a more concrete way. So I like that too.
We have discussed in past altering the way that division reps are selected and what they represent. I think this would be a good way of kind of test running to see how effective it is in actuality. So I just reminding folks that just because we're doing it this way doesn't mean we can't change it. We will have a rules committee meeting coming up eventually now.
Yes, we will. We will definitely work with you to potentially get our bylaws revised to add this new kind of umbrella committee, but also to kind of take a look at some of the elections procedures around some of the division representative selection, because I think there is probably some rationale now around a more formal kind of vote by division folks for who they want their representative to be. So there's some sort of record of that process instead of just by voice vote during those breakout sessions. Definitely some things to explore. Change is good, but change means work. So gotta love it. Any final thoughts, questions about that? It's a work in progress, like I said, but I think we're moving forward as of earlier this week and steaming right along ahead. So excellent. Okay, moving into old business, we have proposed proclamation 22-01 regarding Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. What I'm going to do, since we've already had a reading of this in the last meeting, is I'm going to pull up and share my screen. We'll do a final quick read through of the revisions that have been made since the last meeting based on the feedback we received in the last meeting. So we share the right screen here. All right, can everybody see my screen? So I'm going to do a quick read through, and then we're going to move into discussion and a potential vote. All right, proclamation 22-01 concerning Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, a proclamation of the Employee Forum, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, September 14th. That should read September 7th, 2022. Whereas it is the mission of the Employee Forum to represent, advocate for, and support over 9,000 employees of the University of North Carolina, each with a variety of beliefs, values, and experiences, while constructively addressing and reporting their concerns. And whereas the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization has reversed 50 years of legal precedent and eliminated constitutional legal protections of personal bodily autonomy that generations of women, pregnant people, and people who may become pregnant have lived with their entire lives. And whereas we recognize that comprehensive reproductive services, including abortion care, are essential health care, and that access without excessive government restriction is central to an individual's ability to participate equally in society. And whereas we recognize that restrictions on reproductive health, rights, and justice are not new, for many, access to abortion care has always been a right in name only, dependent on their race, how much money they have, their health insurance status, where they work, and their zip code. We recognize that the Dobbs decision to restrict access to abortion care services further disproportionately impacts people who already face systemic discrimination and have limited health care access. BIPOC communities, people in rural communities, immigrants, people with disabilities, the LGBTQ+ community, young people, and people struggling to make ends meet. And whereas at this time, North Carolinians still have legal access to the full spectrum of reproductive services, including abortion, though clinics are only available in 9 of the 100 counties in North Carolina. We recognize that this new state-by-state approach has created uncertainty around access to healthcare in North Carolina. And whereas uncertainty surrounding reproductive healthcare might also impact the university's ability to recruit and retain talented staff, faculty, and students. And whereas this comes at a time when the Carolina Women's Center is not fully staffed. And whereas we see and hear the confusion, fear, anger, and sorrow across campus, and recognize this is compounded by the ongoing pandemic, mental health crisis, and staff shortages. And whereas there are varied reactions to the Supreme Court decision, our goal is to support these members of our community adversely impacted by the Dobbs decision. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Employee Forum commits itself to advocating for access to comprehensive quality health care, including the full spectrum of reproductive services for all employees, and affirms our community members' right to make personal decisions that impact how they live their lives. And be it further proclaimed, we recognize the quickly changing nature of these issues and will monitor the local impact of the Supreme Court decision while seeking ways to advocate for and support members of our community. If you have concerns or see changes that negatively impact your ability to participate in the campus workforce, please contact us. Signed, Katie Musgrove, Chair. Okay, at this point, I'm going to lean heavily on our trustee parliamentarian to help guide me through this vote process. First, I open up discussion around the proclamation. We have a hand up, Laura.
Yep. Hey, I think it's great. My suggestion for an edit, I know we don't want to edit it anymore, but I do think it's important to be factual. In mid-August, the state had some changes so that abortion is legal only up to 20 weeks of pregnancy. So I would not call that I would not find that consistent with the phrase North Carolinians still have legal access to the full spectrum of reproductive services. I would suggest some language change there.
Okay, Jacob, I'm going to lean on you about the process for making revisions at this point. Hear that as a friendly amendment to
I mean, yeah, once a motion has come to the floor, you're allowed to make amendments. However, currently this is a suggestion to make an amendment, which isn't really a motion. We would need someone to actually suggest language as opposed to point out that the language is not what we want it to be yet. And then that would then get voted on to include into this, and then we can vote to pass the motion with the amended language. Same with Elizabeth Dubois' point that she put out, I think, in an email earlier. And I'll bring it up if she's unable to connect.
Okay. Liz is raising her hand now. Liz. Oh, you're muted, Liz.
Now,
Yes. Perfect.
my suggested possible edit, awaiting a possible motion, would be the footnote 1, ectopic pregnancy, other complications. The word can do pose an immediate threat. I mean, I think that's language worth keeping as strong as possible. So the word can, I think I emailed about this, but I can't pull up my email right from where I am right now.
You did.
I suggested just removing the word can or putting does.
I think the simplest way to just make this amendment is just to eliminate the word can.
Yeah, thank you.
Is everyone, and now that does need to go to a vote on the floor, so that can either
With proper grammar. I mean, of course.
Yeah, it would
Just-
be threatens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So do
Thank
I
you.
hear a motion to revise footnote 1 to state ectopic pregnancy and other pregnancy complications threaten lives without abortion care?
I so move. This is Arlene.
Is there a second?
Rebecca, second.
All in favor of said amendment?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, we also have a proposed other amendment. Do we have some exact language around what we want to change this sentence to read?
I'm happy to work on some language, but I also don't want to be the only person holding this up. So I just put in the chat, like, am I alone? And it's okay if I'm alone. I will stand alone. Am I alone in feeling like this language maybe does not encompass what is currently happening in the state?
I think it doesn't reflect it in the sense that it doesn't mention a change.
So, okay, so let me think out loud. Can someone type while I think out loud? Is someone willing to do that? Whereas at this time, North Carolinians still have legal access to some reproductive services, including abortion up to 20 weeks. I mean, is that splitting hairs?
How about 2 reproductive services, including abortion up to 20 weeks gestation? Is that the correct, like, medical
abortion is legal up to 20 weeks of pregnancy. So
Okay.
20 weeks of pregnancy. I'm okay with that language change. I know that Leah has her hand up. Leah, do you have a comment on this or on a different part?
No, I was just going to say that's how I would define it. If I agree with that suggestion, or you could put a footnote, so like an article that talks about
the
the ban
change?
that was reinstated, and if you need to put a footnote at the bottom.
Can someone send me a link?
I got you.
And I can add that as a footnote here.
News and Observer link in the chat. So while Katie's working on that, just to expedite things, I move to change the language to what Katie has so graciously typed out for us, including a footnote with a link to the change. That is my movement. Is there a second?
I
second.
I second.
I third, I fourth, I fifth.
Jacob, do you want to call the vote?
So before we call the vote, do we want to add any comments to what the footnote I'm adding, or just the link to the story? Should I put the title of this article or something before this, or just?
I think that would be helpful.
What's the title of this? Somebody help me out.
Abortion is banned after 20 weeks in NC dash, but there are exceptions. And then it also says get the details here, but I don't think we need that.
Yeah, no.
And just so we're not cutting people off, because it's difficult to do in an electronic forum, there is an additional change to the amendment. Adriani has suggested including the word only, which I think actually sharpens the point that Laura was attempting to make.
Okay, where's that at in?
Just adding only up to 20 weeks instead of just finishing abortion.
Up to only.
After abortion and before up. Only up to 20 weeks of pregnancy.
Got it. Okay. So we already called the motion, correct? Or no?
Yes, although due to the language that Laura put in, technically anything you type in there qualifies, so we're good.
Okay. So
And again, we're not going to be super strict about this. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody has the opportunity. I'm trying to keep myself author version out of this and just parliamentarian this.
So we've heard the motion. Do all in favor of making said motion to revise that sentence and add the footnote that we've added?
I would just point out that Matthew is suggesting that we reference the author in the footnote.
Is that required if it's not an academic paper?
We didn't do that in any of the other footnotes, so that's something to.
Okay, just pointing out that.
I'm not saying that that's not wrong. I don't know. Not sure if that's required or not.
So I don't say it's certainly not required by anything within our rule structure or the proclamation. Then we can if we want to, but it is not required. And I believe the News Observer is required to have their author's name in the byline, so they will get credit for it.
I don't think there's any concerns of us like plagiarizing or anything with.
Right. Well, and that's I think that's one of the advantages of the footnote. But
okay, all in favor of said amendment with addition of a footnote?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mm-hmm.
Any abstain? Okay, so that amendment passes. Now, with said amendments in place, do I hear a motion?
Real quick, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Ashley brought up an interesting point that the link that we put on may be behind a paywall. For some folks, I think enough of us have News Observer subscriptions that we're not used to thinking about it that way. But it may not be. Someone else did include a CNN one, which would not be through behind a paywall.
Do we want to switch that?
There was actually did.
I can switch it if you guys feel.
I think it should be as accessible as possible. So a non-paywall link, I think. Is
What's the
preferable.
title of this CNN article for those? So that I don't have to switch screens.
There's actually a better one that has a lot of resources. So I wanted to find that one and send it.
Okay.
First, give me just a second.
Sounds good. And if you could include when you send that in the chat, Ashley, the title of the article, so I could just copy and paste into.
However, given the truncated nature of time, I feel like we can, since we are just talking about changing an article and stuff, it's not materially altering the piece. I do think at this point it would be useful to open up the floor to general debate on the motion.
Okay. I open up the floor, or do I need to make a motion to open up the floor?
Nope. You were the chair, you're the procedure. You open the floor to debate, and then if we want to change it, then whoever wants to do it has to make a motion. But you just open it to debate, and then pro, con, till we're out of people.
Okay, I open up the floor to debate about resolution 22-01 regarding jobs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. Any folks want to come forward with comments, concerns, approvals, statements of, concern? Any debate is welcome on this proposed proclamation of the employee forum. Thanks.
Hand raised.
Yes, if you could call people's hand raising while I'm adjusting this.
Yeah, you do that. Arlene, first, are you speaking for or against, just so I can keep this? Pro, thank you.
Pro.
Proceed.
Really incredibly well written. That it is, the forum says, hi, we think this is a thing that will impact staff in a negative way. While we recognize that not everyone agrees with Roe versus Wade being struck down being a bad thing or being reversed as a bad thing. We also are going, hey, this will hit a lot of people very badly, and we're saying we don't like that because we're here for staff. And I think you guys did a really good job of doing that.
Great, thanks, Arlene.
So in the interest of fairness, does anyone feel opposed or find that there are issues that they think should be brought to the body that may sway the vote against the motion?
And again, we welcome any and all feedback and viewpoints on this issue.
Absolutely. No, that's democracy. You got to listen to everybody. That's how it works. Everybody's voice is equal here.
Do we hear any feedback, negative feedback about this resolution, or not resolution, sorry, proclamation? No? Jacob, do we want to
I mean,
open up the floor to any feedback?
I mean, at this point, we're going by the numbers here. So if anyone, we're just trying to be as fair and equitable as we can. So I don't want to put any pressure on anybody. Okay, sorry, I got distracted about Julie's. Yes, we can certainly do that. Sorry, I got distracted. That would, yeah, I'll note that. We'll change that. I think it was also a lot of our rules might need to change for the way that we're doing things electronically, because doing things in person, it was very much like, hey, you're here, we're all voting on this. Now that it's digital, some folks aren't making meetings and stuff like that. We can attempt to solve this problem moving forward.
I think this has been a long-standing issue of like folks participating in the resolution and or proclamation drafting process, and it being a struggle to find folks to actively participate in that. But yes, I mean, we definitely encourage folks to take an active role in the drafting of these, because we had, I would say on the order of what, 6 or 7 meetings throughout the process of drafting the initial version. And
yeah, if we're going all the way back to July, yeah, we've had more than half a dozen.
Yeah, so I mean, we've had plenty of opportunities for folks to participate in making these revisions, but we always have to have an opportunity for folks to provide motions and make amendments and all that kind of stuff, just for parliamentary procedure and for fear.
But no, to Julie's point, I do think there is room for improvement in the way that we write these, and it may be that anytime someone wants to do one, you have to put out an all call to the entire body so that if anyone wants to be involved, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, hear your point. It's a good point.
Correct. Okay. Hearing no other feedback, unless someone speaks forward now with their hands raised and or in the chat. Do I hear a motion to take a vote on Proclamation 22-01 concerning Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization?
I move.
This is Rebecca, second.
All in favor of approving Proclamation 22-01?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, Proclamation 22-01 has passed. A round of applause to those who helped to craft this proclamation. And I know it took many, many turns throughout the process. So thank you very much for all your help to the delegates who participated in this. Jacob, Kira, especially.
Yeah, I definitely want to give Kira and Stephanie, since I don't think either of them are currently here, a tremendous shout out. Kira really spearheaded this, and Stephanie stepped up midway through and was very useful. So I think Stephanie has stuff going on, had to leave work, and Kira's not feeling well. So they did a whole lot of they did the yeoman's work in this one.
Correct. So Matt Banks, the revised version of this proclamation can be found on the OneDrive under personnel issues proclamations. I'm going to revise the title of it really quickly to reflect that it's been revised as of September 7th. So we're clear on which one it is. While I do so, we're moving into new business. Where we're going to chat about planning for upcoming events. Before we get to that though, I want to open it up for any announcements or questions so I have time to make this save. So does anyone from the body have any announcements that they want to bring forward? I think Matt Teal had something that he reached out. I don't know if he's still on the call or not.
Yep, still here. Good morning, everyone. So Campus Safety is putting on a zombie preparedness festival. This is happening on Thursday, September 22nd. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll send out an email after the meeting with the details in writing. But I'll just read off this note. Let's see. Fortunately, the zombies are not there to eat brains, but they're there to share emergency preparedness information for National Preparedness Month. So if you're ready for zombies, you're ready for any emergency, be it a hurricane, tornado, fire, or active assailant/threat. The goal is to bring a fun atmosphere to bring students, faculty, and staff together to learn about emergency preparedness information from campus, local, and state partners in one location, so our campus community can, quote, be informed, be prepared, and take action, whether they're on or off campus. So this will be accomplished through two primary means. We're going to invite fellow campus partners who have a safety mission to staff tables and hand out emergency preparedness information. And they're going to conduct hands-on emergency demonstrations to educate our campus community on proper emergency response techniques such as hands-only CPR, fire extinguisher use, and self-defense. So I've got two links I'll drop in the chat. This one is just more information about, well, that's not a link. Boo. Sorry. That is
the link's undead. Sorry.
Oh no. Let's try that again. Yay.
This is the kind of content we need, Matt. First of all, thank you for bringing this forward.
Hype everyone up. Let's go. So that is the link for more information about the event itself. And if you're feeling brave and want to be a fellow zombie with me, this is what you get for helping the emergency management officer. Like, hey, you want to be a zombie? Here's a link to sign up to be a zombie. So they're still looking for volunteers. So there are 3 tiers of zombies, depending on how much makeup and prosthetics you want to get into. There's like casual zombies, and then there's mid-tier, and then there's like Walking Dead level zombies. And the person that's doing this is a former like Hollywood level makeup artist. So this is not just like what you buy at the costume shop down the street. This is like legit stuff. If you want to volunteer, you need to be able to participate the entire day, because especially depending on how much makeup and prosthetics you put on, you need to be there at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you won't get done until 3 or 4. I'm mid-tier, and they've told me to be there at 8 or 8:15 and not to expect to be done before 3. So this is not something you just show up 30 minutes before the event and then you're done. Also, they're going to give you zombie appropriate clothing, but wear clothing, if you want to be zombie, wear clothing under that you don't mind getting messed up. So no suit and ties that day.
God, this is so great.
So
please tell me there's going to be like media from like, Daily Tar Heel and the Well and stuff there to capture.
I hope so. Justin Miller in the emergency management planning office is leading he's sort of managing this, and I think he's reached out to get media attention. And there's just that first link has a list of partners. So we've got Carolina Ready, UNC Police, Chapel Hill Fire Department, National Weather Service, State Highway Patrol, State Emergency Management. So there's going to be a lot of folks participating in this. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of eyeballs. So if you want to help out, or if you just want to show up and have a good time, would love to have you. Again, it's Thursday, September 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the pit.
Matt, important question. Will the
Yes, ma'am.
eyeballs be in the skulls or dangling?
That's classified. I can't tell you.
And the other important question I have is, why was this not done closer to Halloween? Because I feel like
That is an excellent question. I also want to know. You should ask Justin that one. I thought this would be a great tie-in for October, but I guess because it's National Preparedness Month, so they have to do it.
All right, I got it.
But they should move that to October.
There's nothing more terrifying than a person who's a zombie and their makeup is melting.
Let's see. There is if it does rain, they're going to be in the Union Great Hall as the rain site if the weather's bad that day. So come hang out and have a great time with those zombies.
Awesome.
That's all.
Thank you, Matt, for bringing this forward. I hope to see many of you out there as zombies. This is gonna be great. We will include pictures of this in our slideshow at the 30th anniversary event, which we're about to talk about now. So it's a great segue into what I have next. Before I share my screen, just to give folks a kind of brief overview of what the 30th anniversary subcommittee has come up with, and Tiffany can chime in here. I don't think Keith is on the call today.
Katie,
yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just saw Ashley has a question in the chat. Can we use volunteer PTO for the zombie event? I have no idea. I would defer to our HR colleagues for that. But I think that's a great question. I wanted to call attention to that.
I mean, it's a community service, right? Does that count?
I think so, but I'm not in HR, so I don't know.
Maybe Jessica, I think Jessica's the only HR person left on the call, could get back to us. Thank you, Jessica. Also, Jesse Hill has an announcement in the chat that I want y'all to take a look at. So thank you for that, Jesse.
Welcome.
Okay. Yes, so 30th anniversary event, we have come up with a date and time and a kind of format of what we're going to do to celebrate our 30th anniversary as the Employee Forum. So what we're going to do is we co-opted and hijacked our October monthly meeting, which is scheduled for October 11th from 9:15 to 11:30. So instead of doing that, we're going to meet in person at the Carolina Club for a breakfast buffet to celebrate the Employee Forum's 30th anniversary. So we'll have remarks from folks, a breakfast buffet, cupcakes at the end, fun event. So pretty much co-opting and canceling our in-person regular meeting for this just fun celebration and get together with current, former, past chairs, current chair, dignitaries, all kinds of folks that help the Employee Forum succeed in its 30 years of amazing work. So that's kind of what we've come up with thus far. The next step in the process is to submit to the Chancellor. We've kind of come up with a proposal that includes the funding amounts. He's already kind of verbally agreed to fund whatever we come up with, but we want to get his formal approval and work with his team on paying for all of these fun things. The other kind of second tier of the celebration that we're going to have is the next day is University Day, so October 12th. We're going to have a table likely close to the Old Well, the hour before the University Day ceremony, to give out insomnia cookies to staff on campus. So celebrating the Employee Forum with ourselves is great and fun, but we also want to celebrate with staff on campus who we serve and represent, to kind of, shower them with free cookies. So that is another phase of this kind of celebration. So it's like 2-day long Employee Forum Fest. So get excited. We'll eventually reach out to folks about kind of signing up to come give out cookies on University Day. And the folks that are currently on the 30th anniversary ad hoc committee will be helping kind of put together both events. Yes, thank you, Jay.
Katie, before we wrap this conversation up about the celebration, I'm not sure if Matt got any responses from folks about having a sponsor at the club.
Yes, we need
I
to
know Jesse does have someone who might be willing to do it for us, but I wanted to wait to see if we had heard back from anyone else so that we can move forward with that.
I don't think I've heard anything from folks. Matt, did you hear anything separately from anyone? Matt Banks, I guess I should say. No, he said. So no, we've not heard anybody else who is a member. Jesse, is Naquan still a member?
No, he's not.
He is
No,
not,
I checked on
but
that.
my medical director is. And so I'll just ask her. I'm sure she'd be willing.
Oh, great. Awesome. I would definitely appreciate you reaching out and asking for someone to sponsor us. That would be amazing. Okay.
I'll round back with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the proposal that Keith, our trustee vice chair, has helped put together to send to the chancellor with kind of some figures. We're going to need to update this slightly because I don't think we have a figure in here for decorations, which we hope that our trustee Tiffany Carver will provide for us. But let me share my screen really quick. Hang on just a second. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Okay. So this is what we've come up with. He started with just an overview of who we are, our mission, and then we get to the objective of what we're sending to the chancellor. Objective of this proposal is to secure funds to celebrate the Employee Forum's 30th anniversary with a two-part celebration. The purpose of the events is to celebrate the formation, work, and successes of the Employee Forum with its members, past chairs, the administration, and campus partners. Need number one, funding in the amount of $39.50, which that figure may change, for the 30th anniversary celebration breakfast, tentatively scheduled for October 11th, 2022 from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Carolina Club. Need number two, funding in the amount of $1,677.50 for the University Day giveaway of Insomnia cookies to UNC staff near the Old Well just before the ceremony. We need to capitalize the Old Well. And the total funding needed is $5,627.50. So here's that breakdown of funding. As I mentioned, there's nothing in here for decor, which we'll need to update that.
Yeah, he asked me about that yesterday, and I told him I think like 300 to 400 would be safe, a safe bet. So if we want to just guesstimate there,
put 400.
I feel like a nice round asking the chancellor for $6,000 would be great. That's pretty much what it's gonna,
Awesome. I don't know what just happened. It's not letting me update that. So I'll work on updating the figure. I think 400 is probably a great amount. Any other feedback around this proclamation, anything, or not proclamation, this proposal, any further things that should be added?
Do we have time to do any kind of 30th anniversary swag? Is it too late to get that going?
So we have all of that swag that we recently purchased. I guess we could bring some of that over to give out during the cookie giveaway and or even just the celebration. Maybe putting those little basketball squishies on everybody's place setting. I think that'd be a cute idea if we had enough.
Last time we just had like a basket on the tape on that welcome table that had like the banner on it, and folks could kind of grab stuff as they, came in if they wanted.
We'll bring some of this swag that we've got. I think that would be a good idea. Let's see, chats. Glad gratuities included is 15% still enough. I don't know. I think that was what they quoted, correct? Tiffany?
I'm not sure. I have to look back at the thing.
We will check on that. I know one point we discussed giving out swag. Is that still on table? No, I think we just talked about that. We can
Sorry, I popped that in there before the recent conversation.
Let's see. Yes, I agree that food service sub minimum wage is definitely an issue we have to keep in mind.
Thanks, Katie. That's why I went ahead and put in that note. I mean, I just want to make sure that if they're getting paid what wait staff usually get paid, that's not even minimum wage.
Right. I am not
I didn't
sure
realize my mute was off.
processes of Carolina Club actually. So Tiffany, if you wouldn't mind looking into that, we can update that figure as well, because I really want to get this to the Chancellor by the end of the week so that we have kind of ability to move forward sooner rather than later on that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to work on updating the decor amount. Tiffany, let me know what you hear on the gratuity amount. Any other thoughts around potential costs that we have not included here?
The table for the cookie giveaway.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have one or if we're getting one from housekeeping, because I believe we're getting from housekeeping. There is a charge involved.
Can you look up how much that is and send me an email with that, Arlene?
Sure.
And then I also realized we didn't put the cost of the, whatchamacallit, the paperless post on here, because we're going to send out email invitations with an RSVP request.
And we're just looking at one table, right?
I would do 2, given we're gonna like have like 1,000 cookies to give away. It's gonna be take up quite a lot of space.
That's true. Some of the cookies are big.
Yeah. And Matt, we'll put the paperless post in here. We'll just be thorough of, you know, everything we are gonna pay for. We'll probably end up paying for it ourselves, but that's okay. We can always ask for the money. Okay, well, thank you all for your feedback on this. If you would like to help out with the eventual implementation of all of this fun awesomeness, please reach out to Tiffany and Keith and myself, and we'll make sure that you're added to the list of folks who serve on the ad hoc committee. It's going to be great. Tiffany started sharing pictures from the 25th anniversary, and it brought back some good memories. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of y'all there in person to celebrate all the hard work that we do every year to support staff on campus. Hopefully we're having the same conversation in 30 more years, or that all of us are retired and, you know, living our best life at the beach. So that too. Jessica put an update in the chat. Update on Zombie Fest: participating as a zombie can be considered community service leave with the manager's approval. Community service leave, i.e. performing volunteer service for a public university that is approved by a university administrator and or other authorized university official. That's like some of the best news I've ever heard. So zombie participation at this event can be community service leave with your supervisor's approval.
I like that. It's a public health initiative when you think about it.
I love it so much. Oh my God. Yeah, great. Thank you for looking into that, Jessica.
I still want to be a formal wear zombie.
That sounds like a great idea. Okay. Otherwise, the other kind of upcoming event we have is the Employee Appreciation Day and the scavenger hunt. Here, I want to make a huge call for folks to help out with the scavenger hunt. I think we need to Communications and Public Relations Committee folks that are in charge of planning this. If we want to put together a meeting sometime in the next week or so, just start in earnest the collection of gift cards, gifts, things, prizes to give away. I think we need to start that sooner rather than later. So if you are interested in helping out, please reach out to Joe Ormond and to Shane Brogan and or myself, and we'll get you invited to that planning meeting so that we can kind of hit the ground running. That is an event that takes a whole lot of kind of planning and kind of implementation. So if you have the capacity to help, please reach out. What time is the appreciation event? I think it's all day, right? They have an event for breakfast for third shift folks, and then it kind of goes into like 2 or 3 p.m. Is that right? I can't remember. They'll HR.
Jessica, do you know?
HR will hopefully send out an announcement about Employee Appreciation Day soon.
Sorry, what was the question?
What time Employee Appreciation Day runs from?
I believe it's the standard 11 to 2 o'clock.
Are they doing a kind of breakfast option for folks that are on their third shift? Do we know?
I will have to check with Miriam on that. They have done that in the past, but I know this spring it wasn't, not a lot of people came out.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, check into that for us, because I think that is something that folks are probably hoping is on the table for this year, given we're getting back to normal. Speaking of appreciation for our housekeeping staff, we have an event. I think it's actually tomorrow. Let me pull up my calendar here, y'all. Sorry. Just thought of this. UNC Housekeeping International Executive Housekeeper Appreciation event is happening tomorrow on campus. So I'm pretty sure that it's Housekeeper Appreciation Week. I think that happens in September. So please give a shout out to your department HR or department housekeeping folks and share your thanks and appreciation for all their hard work throughout the year. Not that we don't want to do that all year round, but in particular this week. The week of the 12th, I believe. Are you talking about the Housekeeping Appreciation Week, Jackie?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So it's next week, but I guess the event that they're having, the luncheon thing, is tomorrow.
Correct.
Awesome. Thanks, folks. Other questions in the chat. Is there free parking for Employee Appreciation Day for those of us without parking permits? I think they usually have free parking because it's fall break. We're going to toss that one to Jessica too to see if she can track down that information since OHR is hosting. And yes, if you're a CAP member, you can get one free parking per month, but I think they usually have free parking near, like in Cobb Deck, for employee appreciation, if I recall correctly.
That should be the same.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And breakfast is happening.
Woohoo! Yay! Thank you so much for that update, Jessica.
So I'm sure, I know that our newsletter for September was pushed back a week because of the holiday, but there will most likely be more details in that, and definitely in October as we get closer. And
So,
yes, parking is confirmed to be free that day in the Cobb Deck.
Excellent. Looking forward to that, although I will sadly miss it this year. Again, I'll do a final kind of push and call for folks who are able to help out with this scavenger hunt planning process to please reach out to Joe and Shane, and we'll get kind of a meeting together to kind of plan and put on that event. And then Matt, probably after this meeting or later this week, we'll send out kind of a solicitation for volunteers to help man the table at Employee Appreciation Day, so that we can give out kind of our swag and kind of greet people at the department table booth fair thing, department exhibits, whatever we're calling those things. So if you're interested in volunteering the day of Employee Appreciation and want to help man the table, help work the table, change that language there, please reach out to, well, not please reach out to Matt. Matt is going to reach out with a culture survey to get volunteers put together for that. Questions, thoughts around our planning for our upcoming events? October is going to be nutso. It's going to be great. Might lose my mind a little bit, but that's okay. Anytime I have to speak in front of people, it's just great things. Awesome. Okay, the only other thing that we have in announcements and questions is mentioning our next VC representatives meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 13th. The Matt Qualtrics requesting questions to be brought forward for that will happen later in September. So be thinking about things you want to bring up at that. Yep, Arlene, your partner's birthday in the state fair in October too. Yeah, my mom's birthday is in October. My nephew's first birthday is in October. I have a wedding in October. I'm going on the Tar Heel bus tour in October. I'm going to staff assembly in Elizabeth City in October. I'm speaking at a University Day in October. I'm like going crazy just talking about all of this. So, oh yeah, and we have the 30th anniversary event in October, as well as employee appreciation, which I'm not going to be at because it's conflicting with Tar Heel Bus Tour. And Shayna's birthday is in October. So, I mean, it's like a national holiday that we should all be celebrating, which is also Halloween, which it is a holiday. So built-in holiday for Shayna's birthday.
I already requested it off. Is that not what we're all doing?
Oh, goodness. Yes. So holy crap, Katie. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about October. David put in the chat, fall plant sale at North Carolina Botanical Garden is happening on 9/24 from 9 to 2, and link in the chat. Great point, David. Just curious, what is the Tar Heel Bus Tour? That is a great question. Let me put a link in the chat around what Tar Heel Bus Tour is. I got invited by the administration to attend as chair of the employee forum. But let me find the link here real quick. Somebody talk while I'm searching this.
And that's huge.
Yes, I'm excited about it. Although the introvert in me is kind of hating me for saying yes to being in a closed confined space with like 40 strangers all like for 3 straight days.
They won't be strangers after the first 6 hours.
Okay. Here's the link to the last one. That is not the link to the last one. I take it back. Okay.
I always wanted to go on the Tar Heel Bus Tour after reading about it because, like, that sounds fabulous.
So this year, I think there's one bus going west and one bus going east. Not entirely certain which direction I'm going in yet. The orientation is happening next week. So hopefully I'll find out and know which direction in North Carolina I'm going. But it's 3 full days. It's going to be interesting. Getting to see the work the university does all across the state and highlight hopefully some things that our amazing staff are doing and the impact staff have all across North Carolina. So woo woo staff.
Katie, are you the only staff member outside of senior administration going?
I don't know. I'm thinking probably there's a strong likelihood that that's a yes.
If you have the opportunity to provide feedback at any point,
I will definitely.
Can you share the disappointment that applications were only open to faculty and senior admin? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Y'all will laugh at this. My invitation said, "Dear Senior Administrator," and I'm like, "Who? What? Where's the senior administrator salary that goes with that title? Like, who's that?" Surely not me. But yeah, so I think that's definitely a room for improvement to kind of showcase and highlight staff for sure. I'm super glad that they reached out to me and invited me to participate. Yes, I'll be oriented west or east after orientation. I'll hopefully know my directions by then. Awesome. So yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity. Sad to miss employee appreciation because I super am always into hiding the clues with my role on communications, public relations. You get kind of into it and act ninja-like to try and get around without people spotting you hiding the clues. Like, I swear people were following me, not last year because we didn't do it last year, but the year before. I swear people were following me around and like were like about to pounce on the clues I was hiding. So it's super fun. So I'm bummed to miss that part, but I'm sure you guys will have a great time. And I don't know if y'all saw my comment earlier about bring back the taco bar. I am strongly in favor of bringing back the taco bar because that was a huge hit a couple years ago at employee appreciation. I love the taco bar. Yes. Anyways, folks, any final announcements, questions, kudos, feedback, anything like that y'all want to bring forward as we close out the September meeting? Tacos are life. Yes, Jesse, tacos are life. Awesome. All right, folks. Well, If I don't see you before then, hope to see a lot of you at the zombie event, because that sounds like so much fun. We've also got executive committee coming up later in the month. So yeah. Thanks, everybody. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
This is Arlene. I move to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Have a good rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Stay dry.
Take care, Katie. Good job.
Thanks, folks. Have a good one.
You too.
I just wanted to commend you on handling it well. Bye.
I think she's already gone.
Yeah, hence the bye.
Bye.